Hey, welcome. Today we are going to tackle one of the absolute biggest decisions any business has to make, pricing. We're going to talk about a huge mindset shift, really, moving away from how much did this cost me to make and towards what is this actually worth to my customer. So let me just start by asking you a question right out of the gate. Are you making the most common mistake in pricing? It's a mistake that's, super common, it feels safe, it feels logical, but it might be seriously holding your business back. By the end of this, you'll know for sure. Pricing expert Herman Simon just nails it with this quote. For so many companies, pricing isn't a science at all. It's just a mess of gut feelings, old habits, what the boss thinks, even office politics. It just shows you how chaotic it can be. There's got to be a better way, right? And that chaos often leads people right here into what I call the cost plus pricing trap. It seems so simple and straightforward, which is why everyone uses it, but that's exactly why it's a trap. It can really limit your potential. So what exactly is it? Well, cost plus is super simple. You just figure out what it costs you to make something, slap on a percentage for profit, and boom, that's your price. This whole idea really comes from the Industrial Revolution, when everything was about production costs. But look, what worked back then doesn't really cut it anymore. And this is where you can really see the difference. The cost plus mindset is all about you. It's totally inward looking. You're just asking, what does this cost me? But the value-based mindset, it flips the script completely. It's all about the customer. It's outward looking, and it asks a much more powerful question. What is this worth to my customer? To really get this new way of thinking, we need a better metaphor. So let's stop thinking about costs and markups, and let's start thinking in value pies. This is a really cool way to visualize what's happening in any transaction. Okay, so here's the deal. A traditional negotiation is what you'd call distributive. It means the pie of value is a fixed size. The whole game is just you and the customer fighting over who gets the bigger slice. It's basically a win-lose situation. But an integrative exchange is all about making it a win-win. The goal isn't just to slice the pie, it's to work together to make the entire pie bigger for everybody. So the big idea here? Stop fighting over slices and start baking a bigger pie. All right, that's enough theory. How does this actually work in the real world? Let's get practical. Let's look at how this whole pricing based on value thing actually plays out with some real examples, both for businesses and for everyday consumers. So just imagine this for a second. You've invented some amazing new gadget for a business customer, and you can prove, with hard data, that this thing will save them $1 million. And let's say you're the only one who makes it. So what do you charge? This number. This is your anchor. This is where you start. Not your costs, not how many hours you put in. The value pie that you've just brought to the table is worth $1 million. That's the only number that really matters. Now, a pretty common strategy in the business world is to claim a piece of that value you created, let's say somewhere between 15 and 25%. So you price your gadget at $250,000. Think about it. The customer gets $750,000 in savings, and you get $250,000. That is a massive win-win. Now, hold that thought. What if I told you that it only costs you this much to make the gadget? $900. Yep. So does that change the price? It shouldn't, not one bit. The fact that it only costs you $900 to make is completely, totally irrelevant to the $1 million of value it creates for your customer. The lesson here is simple, but it's so powerful. You have to link your price to the value, not to the cost. Okay, so that's a business example where the value is all about dollars and cents. But what about when we're selling to regular people, to consumers? Well, value gets a lot more emotional. And there's a fantastic example of this, the non-alcoholic spirits brand Seedlip. Check this out. So a bottle of nice gin in the UCAN costs, say, 30 to 35 pounds. And Seedlip, which looks and feels like a premium spirit but has zero alcohol, sells for almost the same price. But here's the kicker. Because there's no alcohol, Seedlip doesn't have to pay the hefty alcohol tax, which is over 8 pounds a bottle. Now, they could have made their product cheaper, right? But they didn't. They priced it based on the value it provides, the value of having a sophisticated, grown-up drink when you're not drinking. People are paying for that experience, not for the liquid or the lack of tax. So if value is so much more than just saving money, how do you even begin to figure out what your product is worth? How do you put a number on these things? Well, let's look at a framework that can really help you break it down. This is Bain's Elements of Value Pyramid, and it basically shows that value has different layers. At the bottom, you've got the basic, functional stuff. It saves you time, it makes things easier, it connects you to people. Then you move up to emotional value. It reduces anxiety, it's fun to use, it gives you status or badge value. Then you get to life-changing value, things like giving you hope or a sense of belonging. And right at the top is social impact. The more of these elements your product delivers, the more value people will see in it. Let's take a product we all know, the iPhone. On a functional level, sure, it works. It connects you, organizes your calendar, saves you time. But that's just the beginning. Emotionally, it's fun, it looks great, and carrying it definitely has that badge value. And on a life-changing level, it creates this powerful sense of belonging to the whole Apple world. See, Apple isn't just selling you a phone, they're selling you value on all these different levels, and that is why they can charge what they charge. And that brings us right back to where we started. After all this, from value pies to iPhones, it really all comes down to one crucial question that you have to ask yourself. Are you charging for your costs, or are you charging for the value you truly create? Honestly, the answer to that could change everything for your business.